BBC Radio Bristol.
Upload with Adam Crowther.
It's 8:10 and it's Thursday evening. A little while ago here on the show, we had the amazing spoken session in the White Room studio, didn't we? From Amy Williams. She joins me in the studio. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Well done on that amazing performance. That was great.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. How was it for you performing live in session like that?
It was okay, actually. I was nervous to start with, and it felt quite emotive, I suppose, the poems that I was reading. But yeah, it was good. I've been made to feel very welcome. So
Good, that's what we like. Yeah, we like that a lot. And so I want to find out a bit more about you then, Amy. For people who haven't heard you on the show before, you wear lots of different hats in lots of different guises with what you do. Give us a bit of a snapshot into you and your life.
My life, I would say, is chaos, actually. It's a very busy life. So I'm a wife, I'm a mum to 3 small children. I'm a service manager in social care, work full-time, and then love the creative stuff on the side. So the poetry, I've got my own small poetry business called Away with Words, bespoke poetry. So sometimes it's busier than others, but over lockdown it was particularly busy. That was all. It kind of kept me sane as well, really, writing every day actually throughout COVID. So yeah, lots of different hats that I wear.
So let's start with family then. You got a partner and 3 kids. That must be so busy, a house full of 3 kids.
It is busy, and I know they're all sat at the breakfast bar listening to me now. So
give them a shout out. I love that.
Hiya Faith, Kayla and Elijah. I know you're listening to Mummy.
They'll be screaming around the kitchen now, won't they? I love that. That's brilliant. How old are they?
So they are 13, 10 and 7.
Brilliant. Great ages to be.
Yeah, and all very creative, actually.
Are they
all
really?
Like writing, drawing, poetry, singing, creative and musical as well. So.
Well, when they start doing stuff, you can get them to send stuff in on the uploader as well. Why not?
Well, my daughter did, actually.
Oh, really? I love that. Brilliant stuff. So you mentioned there a bit about this business that you've got, Away with Words.
Yeah.
When did this start then, Amy, for you?
So this was back in... Oh gosh, I'm trying to think now. A good few years I've been going, 4 or 5 years.
So long before COVID?
Yeah, before COVID. And it's a bespoke poetry business, so I write for special occasions, for birthdays, Christmas presents. I do speeches, so I've done some wedding speeches, best man speeches, funeral tributes, lots of sort of commissioned work. So, and then gifts. So lots of gifts for Christmas and special occasions, really, anniversaries, anything that people need. Basically, they give me information that they want to have to give to somebody, and I make it rhyme.
That's so special for people, isn't it? That you can create those little magic moments like that, whether you say like wedding speeches or gifts that are for a special occasion or whatever. Yeah.
And then I used it, so over COVID, that's where I started working with a lot of different charities and organisations to write for their campaigns. So it kind of went off into another course, I guess, the business. And I had lots of good experiences with lots of different organisations, so that was really good.
And it must be an amazing sort of feeling when you pass that gift, that poem over to the people, the recipients.
Yeah. Amazing. And obviously you were one of them, weren't you, Adam? You contributed to my poem for UNICEF.
Yeah, I remember that very clearly. In fact, I filmed it in this very studio. You got us to put like a little video together, didn't you?
Yeah, so that was very good. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You also mentioned, Amy, that you work in social care.
Yeah.
That must be a job of 2 halves, I bet. It must be so rewarding one moment, but also quite heartbreaking in others too. Yeah,
it's tough. I'm service manager for fostering adoption, and we've got a therapeutic team called Waypoint. So it's one of my passions, really, working with children in care and care leavers, and that's where I LAC NOTHING came from. So that was inspired and written with alongside care experienced young people to sort of share their story, really. And it's really to challenge some of the language and terminology we use to talk about young people. LAC means looked after child, SIN means child in need, but it's that sort of language that can really have an impact on young people, especially when they go to read their files once they leave care.
Yeah, and we look at some of the language that sort of historically would have been used, and it never was really favourable on those children who were in care.
No. So we really do try now to be more aware of the words that we use, really. And that particular poem was used as one of our fostering campaigns in South Gloucestershire. And it was actually made into a TV advert. So one of our care experienced young people was the voiceover. So it was really, it's an amazing opportunity for him as well.
Yeah. So the poem ended up being read by him?
Yeah,
Wow.
Parts of it on the telly. So it was brilliant.
I mean, it was an incredibly emotive piece, Amy. When you sit down and write stuff like that, obviously, your job means that you have an insight that a lot of people won't have into the world of care and fostering and adoption. But it must give you a real insight into some of the real challenges, but also really bright moments that come out of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of our children in care go on to succeed and to, achieve fantastic things. So, and we've got some wonderful foster carers as well that are providing great, commitment and care to our young people. So there's always those positives as well, and the positive, success stories. But it's also about building relationships. It's about helping young people to maintain safe relationships with birth family as well as develop new ones with foster carers. So yeah, we do have a lot of good foster carers, but we're always looking for more. So I will put that there. And
give that a good old plug, because you're based in South Gloss Council,
Yeah.
right? So if anyone in the South Gloss area, and of course other parts of our broadcast area too, there are really easy avenues now to get information that could potentially lead to the first steps of going down the route of adoption, of fostering too, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you've seen, and many of other people must have seen, the John Lewis Christmas advert that promotes foster care as well. So John Lewis have been great since that. We're collaborating with them, and we've got a stand in John Lewis in Cribbs Causeway. So that's on the 10th and 11th and the 17th and 18th of December, where some of our social workers from South Gloss will be there to talk about fostering, to give some more information so people can go there. They can also go to southgloss.gov.uk/fostering. Or we've got a Facebook page as well, Foster with South Gloucestershire Council. So there's lots of ways you can get more information.
There'll be a lot of people perhaps listening, Amy, that might think, I don't know whether it's for me. I don't know if that's for me. What makes a great foster parent?
I would say commitment, resilience, and a line that I say quite a lot is every child needs one caring adult. So it's just one person can make all the difference. It's about being persistent, unconditionally caring for that young person and seeing the positives, helping them to reach their potential.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I used to be a youth worker in a previous life, and so the difference that you can see from young people by having that one positive relationship, whether that be with a youth worker, a foster parent, an older sibling perhaps, the difference that makes is so vital, isn't it? At all stages through childhood. Yeah,
the impact of relationship and connection is phenomenal, really. Makes all the difference. So it's hard. It's a hard role for sure, but it's incredibly rewarding.
I bet. Let's talk a bit about the second poem that you performed for us tonight, The Human Pressure Cooker. This sort of deals with mental health and sometimes things becoming a bit overwhelming, but the importance also of taking space and time too.
Yeah, so I wrote that in support of Mind, the charity. That was in 2020, and it was published by Slam King's Cross Performance Art Theatre to raise money for Mind. And it's really about, I think it's not such a taboo subject now. I think we're getting better at talking about mental health, but it's just, I guess, raising awareness and letting people know that it is okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. And that's what that poem's about, really. And knowing yourself, self-care, letting people know how to respond to you, how to care for you is really important. And it's okay to need to be on your own sometimes, and it's okay to ask for help sometimes. So.
100%. I was just about to say that sometimes that you need to let people know that, okay, I need some support, even if it's just a quiet cup of coffee with someone. Sometimes you need to be around a big group of people, and sometimes you just think, right, I'm sorry, I need to cancel plans this weekend because I just need time to myself to not be bothered by anyone while I've work out stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
What's the reaction like when you put out poetry like that and you publish it out or put it out on your social media or hand it over to charities like that to use in campaigns? How does that get received? Because they're quite sensitive, a lot of these poems.
Yeah, a lot of them are emotive, and I think that's what got me into writing in the first place, really. It helps me, it helps my own mental health and well-being. I write about everything. You know, I've written some poems about mental health, eating disorders, baby loss, grief, you know, some really, really difficult stuff. But so far it's all been well received. I mean, a lot of it has gone sort of viral on social media now, and the poems that I wrote around baby loss, I had people from all over the world contacting me to say it was putting into words what they couldn't say themselves. And so, yeah, so far it's been sort of good, heartwarming reactions that I've had, really.
Which is nice. It must be so beautiful when you get those messages and to know that you're touching people in that way.
Yeah. And I think when I'm asked to write the personal tributes for funerals and things like that, that's a real privilege to do that for somebody. And it's those that, I mean, I spend a lot of time on them, but you want to get them 100% right. You know, that's really difficult for people. But again, it's putting into rhyme their own words. But it's something that, I always strive to get as perfect as I can for them.
I bet. I want to ask you a bit about top tips for people who have thought about writing poetry in a way that's a bit more out of their comfort zone, perhaps. Perhaps people are looking at writing those poems that are really personal or emotive in one way or another. What tips would you give to someone who's sitting to write something like that for the first time and they've got a blank sheet of paper in front of them? What advice would you give to those people? Top tips?
I think it's about being brave and just giving it a go, really, not being afraid about what might come out on paper. And I did some poetry workshops with some children in care during COVID, actually online, and it's quite good sometimes to depersonalise it. So one young person in particular was writing about her family, about her siblings, but she wrote it as if they were giraffes. So she wrote about the 3 giraffes, and you know, sometimes depersonalising it can help, really. But I think it's just about writing from the heart. It's putting down, you know, you don't need to share that with anybody. What you put on paper is yours, really, and yours to own. So, yeah, just
And if you
go
feel
for it.
like putting it out there, then that's your choice once it's done, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've written stuff before and then literally burnt it because it was quite therapeutic, you know. So it might not even be that you want to share it with anybody, but you need to get it on paper.
That's so cathartic, I bet, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
going,
it was
right,
good.
do you know what? That's it, gone.
Yeah.
Wow. You've done a little ditty for upload for the show,
I have,
Amy,
yes.
haven't you? What moved you to write this?
I just wanted to, really, because it was to promote Upload. You guys at Upload have been great to me throughout COVID. You shared a lot of my poetry. You kind of spurred me on and got some of my poems out there. So, yeah, it was a bit of a thank you to you and a bit of a promote the show, really.
Oh, that's super kind. That's so lovely. Do you want to read it out on the radio for us?
Yeah,
Go on, take it away.
There is a presenter called Adam who helps other people find stardom. Could be poetry, prose or some fiction, who knows, but on BBC Upload you'll find him. He spent most of his presenting career playing talent for listeners to hear. From writers and bloggers to actors and vloggers, he holds creativity near. 4 years now this show has been running, and I must say the talent is stunning. Adam makes people smile, feel important, worthwhile. The artists are all up and coming. Adam gives others a voice. You can sing, you can rhyme, it's your choice. Smashed to a pulp made me well up and gulp as a homeless man spoke of his life. Adam will also join in sometimes, and he featured on one of my rhymes. Said he shared in the news Boris in ICU as the poem was in COVID times. So if you have talent to show, you now know just where you can go. Be bold and be brave. Adam gives you the stage. Download it now on Upload.
That is so sweet. That's so touching. And you mentioned about the homeless guy with Smashed to a Pulp. That was one of the very first poems we had sent to the show, actually, by a guy called Az. And it was so emotive to hear that. And so you've got all of it there from the very beginning to even up to sort of today. Amy, that's so lovely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's such a lovely thing to have done, like a little ditty like that. We're going to have to get a copy of that from you because that's just
fine.
wonderful. That's absolutely lovely. How long would it take you to write a ditty like that, or perhaps for other people when you do your commissions?
Depends, really. I mean, commissions, I do tend to spend probably a couple of days, you know, just focusing on it and getting it right. But that ditty I wrote this afternoon, so I did that one in a few minutes.
You talented so-and-so in a few minutes. Come on. You're so talented. I love that. You were wonderful in session tonight, Amy, and it's been really sort of eye-opening to chat to you about the world of fostering and adoption that you work in, but also about the sort of things that inspire you with your poetry too. It's been an absolute joy. If people want to find out more about you, of course, Where do they go? What do they search for?
So I've got my own website, which is www.amywilliams.co.uk. I'm on Facebook at Away with Words Bespoke Poems, and Instagram Away with Words Poetry. So I'm on Twitter as well at author_Amy.
Author
so all of those places.
_Amy, and there'll be links in all the bios and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely adore it. And Amy, finally, for anyone who's listening to this who hasn't ever sent their stuff into Upload, what message would you give to them? I would say do it. Just go for it. And everybody here is so supportive, so lovely. They're not going to let you make a fool of yourself live. So, it's just been great. I would say just do it. Why not?
Enjoy it. Live life.
Perfect. Amy, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
BBC Radio Bristol.
Upload with Adam Crowther.